The Undoing is an HBO show that lands on the 22nd of October and is based on the novel You Should Have Known, which came out in 2014. And yeah, it's a 5-part mini-series, so it's limited to sort of 5 episodes. I've seen 4 of them so far. And what can I say about this? Well, Nicole Kidman, who is 53 years old, is amazing in this. She is not only absolutely beautiful, very much reminding me of the character in Brave, you know, with the long red hair, curls and all. She is stunning in this, and she really can act. She goes through all the ranges from sympathy, crying, anger, to woe is my life, probably a little bit too much in that a little bit, to, yeah, being a strong and pretty powerful character in this. So is it good? So the show is written by David E. Kelley, and I think he does a very good job adapting the novel. As I mentioned very briefly, this is only a 5-part show or 5-part series, and each episode is about an hour long. All of the episodes are directed by Susan Bier, and I think that is probably what makes this show so damn good. It's the directing. Not to say that the writing isn't good either, but the directing here is really phenomenal. The cuts and the framing that has, you know, you're putting your subject in the middle, while making the outside quite blurry, because, you know, that's kind of what's happening to the character or characters in the show. It is really tight, and I like tight directing. It makes me very happy. Even panning from characters into audiences, and the way the fluidity of that is really natural, and either builds suspense or frustration in certain cases, as a matter of fact. So what's it about? Well, The Undoing follows Grace Fraser, who is a, I suppose, psychologist. I think she's a psychologist. And she's married. That's played by Nicole Kidman. Her husband is Hugh Grant in this. And at the very beginning, he plays that Hugh Grant character that Hugh Grant plays.
Make it up to me now. Let's find a room. They must have a few.
You're so bad.
In the sense that he's doing the whole, oh, well, ha, 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 I'm so funny, everyone loves me, ha, ha, ha. And I thought, oh, shit, this is going to get a bit painful. And luckily it didn't. That was just the first episode. This is going to be quite a difficult review, so it's probably going to be shorter than my usual, because I don't want to give spoilers away in this. Even though it is based on a 2014 novel, I'm sure you can go back and have a look at exactly, you know, what happens in it. But something happens at the end of season 1 that fractures the life of Grace. Now, Grace has been helping other people and their issues. She's been giving other people life, you know, skills and knowledge. So she'll have, I think she had 2 married dudes, and she was giving them advice on what they should be doing and what this guy's doing. But she doesn't seem to sort of listen to her own advice until something fractures the world that she's living in. Now, she lives in a very expensive house. She's used to the best things, you know, the clothing and going to gigs, you know, well, gigs, but, you know, going to rooftop parties. And something happens that throws us all under the bus. And again, I'm not going to give you too many spoilers. It is a thriller, I'll give you that, and it does sort of contain a bit of the whole sort of law, not quite like LA law or law, you know, Law and Order, but there's a bit of lawyers involved and trials and stuff like that. But the show, like I say, excels because the directing is superb. David E. Kelley does a very good job writing this too, for a show that is so compressed. In certain cases, he does flesh out the characters by delving into what makes them tick. But again, because it is only 5 episodes, sometimes it feels a little bit rushed. And one of my negatives in the show is that sometimes it feels that Grace, played superbly again by Nicole Kidman, feels like she doesn't really have much agency in what's happening around her. I think it's only in episode 3, halfway through, that she really starts sort of employing some of the analytical skills that she has. But the first 2.5 episodes, I was a bit frustrated because she just kept sort of feeling like she was going, oh, why me? Why me? And that did kind of irritate me because she's supposed to be a very strong character. Now, I'm not quite sure what the book is like, but again, in this, it did feel a bit frustrating. So, yeah, she has a child with the character played by Hugh Grant, and I thought the kid was going to irritate me. You know, Mike, being Hugh Grant's character, is good. Like I said, after you get past the usual foppishness of Hugh Grant in episode 2, he does a pretty damn good job with portraying this guy. Some moments felt a little overacted by Hugh Grant, but I think that's more to do with the character. And again, I don't want to give spoilers, so I can't explain that. But yeah, Hugh Grant is a damn good actor. He really is. Except for a few moments in this, I felt the melodrama was a little bit ranked up there. The kid is played by Noah Jupe. He plays Henry Fraser, the young boy, who's really good in this. As I've mentioned in a couple of other reviews, kids usually piss me off in these kind of shows, but he's really good in this. He obviously gets to act a certain way because of what's happening around him, and that can be a little bit tedious to watch because, you know, watching kids cry is not my favorite thing. But he does a very, very good job in this. We also have well, we've got Sutherland, playing absolutely brilliantly, playing the father of Grace. And Donald Sutherland's character in this is a real hard ass. There's one line which is not giving much away. He was talking about, was it? Cocksucker. And he goes on to say, I'm a cocksucker. Not the way that the word is used now to denigrate and put down homosexuals, but and he does this line, and he's pretty brutal in it. He feels threatening. And for a guy who looks his age, I mean, he's in his 80s, I think, at the moment, he looks old, but he is hardcore in this. He's hardcore as fuck. So he's great in this too. Very good actors in this all around. Down to the downside of things, sometimes the things feel rushed a bit. There are cliffhangers at the end of each episode, and it felt like they were kind of shoehorned in. Like, at the end of episode 2, I think it was, a character said something while looking at the camera, because there's actually a camera in the show, okay? It's not like looking at us. It's seventh wall breaking, but anyway, he's looking directly at the camera, and he states something, and you're like, oh. And then the next episode, you're like, well, that was rubbish. So it does feel like there's a little bit of an artificial created cliffhanger here, especially for the fact that the show is weekly. It's not going to be one of those shows you can all binge in one go, though it does feel like a show that you could binge in one go. And the reason I say that, it comes back to the writing. There are so many subtle things in this that you might forget them in between each week of watching it. So I think it is definitely a binge-worthy show. Also, going back to some of the writing, I think in some cases the writing is a little bit deliberately obfuscating what's going on, in the sense that at times I almost felt like this show was a Shutter Island kind of story. And trust, maybe it is. I don't know. I haven't seen the last episode. But a lot of the things in this, you kind of were like, well, why are they acting that way? And again, I think that might be cleared up in the 5th episode, maybe, or it was, again, just ratcheted up to sort of bring that extra stress to the show. And it is a pretty stressful show, because it's quite a, it's destroying of families, and what one person can do to a family, and the sort of consequences and fallout on how to put the family back together after this. I would give this show a easy 3.5 out of 5, or I suppose 7 out of 10. Again, character development, not bad at all. Very well acted. A little bit of the writing, sometimes bringing it down. The cliffhangers, again, unnecessary, I felt. But overall, I think it's quite a good show. If you enjoy thrillers and you enjoy courtroom kind of thrillers, I think you'll enjoy this one. Catch you later.